Welcome back to our second segment of Chamber Exchange, the TV show. I want to thank the sponsors that make the show happen. That's St. Vincent Hospital and Bank Hometown. Pleased to have with us back this year, which means it's CASAPalooza time. Julie Bowditch, who's the Executive Director of the CASA project here in Worcester, and Keith Pettit from CINCH IT serves on the board at CASA, correct?
So I've been involved with the committee for their Champions for Children, which, as you may have noticed, the past few years, Worcester Business Journal has been a leading fundraising event, which is really super awesome.
Right, and speaking of the Worcester Business Journal, congratulations on being recognized as the small nonprofit
Yes.
Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah, I think, well, no.
Hall of
Haley,
Fame,
aging me, Tim.
Of the year,
Yes.
All right.
No, thank you very much. Yeah,
no, it was great. It was a lot of
CASA.
number of chamber member businesses and individuals that have been involved,
Great crew.
recognized, and the Business Journal did a nice job that evening. But let's talk a little bit. First, we've done it several times in the past, when you've been on, Julia, and Keith, you've been on as well. But just for our viewers who may not be familiar with the CASA project and really the important work that they do.
Yeah, thank you. CASA, court-appointed special advocates, and we're appointed by juvenile judges to help advocate for youth on their cases. And we really just work with every party of the case, everyone who has a relationship with a child, and of course, first and foremost, the youth themselves, to amplify their voices, but also their needs and their wants, something that sometimes can get overlooked in the sort of the chaos that can be the child welfare system.
Right.
So, an extra set of eyes and ears is always a good thing for vulnerable kids. So.
Right, and having practiced, law and worked in the juvenile courts many years ago. I mean, that does unfortunately happen. Kids sometimes don't have those family connections or advocates, and sometimes just the sheer numbers of the juvenile system and all the elements of it, and can leave some opportunities where kids can get missed or their concerns. And you train these volunteers, correct? We
do. We just graduated a brand new class of 22 new volunteer advocates. They are actually the CASAs themselves, the court-appointed special advocates.
Right.
So, they go through 30 hours of specialized training with our team, of course, background checks and screenings, and then they'll get sworn in, actually, by the judges, so that they're actually, part of this whole kind of cog in the wheel, if you will, to really, it's, a very, very serious responsibility and but also a privilege to be able to show up for these kids in that way.
Right, and this doesn't happen, just by accident. There's a lot of fundraising that has to take place year-round in terms of making sure you've got a diversification of funding
That's
sources
right.
so that you can do the work. This third annual CASAPalooza is a part of that. So I guess it was your idea, Keith, right, to kind of start. So maybe you could share the origins of CASAPalooza.
Yeah, absolutely. So Julie and I met at actually a Worcester Chamber networking event years
Right.
ago, which
This
This
is
is
after
after
hours.
hours.
yeah. And I think so for me, I saw all the work they're doing and just how passionate they are about their mission and helping all these children. And I just IT, great. Yeah, we want to help as much many businesses as we can with their IT and cybersecurity. But I was just thinking creatively, how can we do something that raises awareness for the organization as well as raise money. So I'm a musician as well. So I just, something that I'm passionate about is music. So for me, I was like, well, what if we created a mini music festival and called it CASAPalooza?
Yeah.
And Julie's like, let's do it. So here we are 3 years later, and now we're at a new venue, Lilac Hedge Farm. We're very excited about it.
Yeah, Lilac Hedge Farm, a great story in Rutland. People have gone back to the roots, of a family tradition and family farm. So this is going to be on May 17th. Maybe just walk us through the day and what people might be able to expect.
Yeah, Sunday, May 17th. It is from 11:30 to 4:30. Music will be from 12 to 4. We have an acoustic duo that's been there the past 2 years. They're fantastic, FM radio. We have 4 bands right after them. 2 stages, so we'll be going back and forth, so nonstop music. Little breaks here and there.
Yeah.
We want to make sure we talk about CASA and let people know about raffles and other
Right.
activities going on throughout the day. But something new we're doing this year is the Community Collective, which is an opportunity for artists, vendors, just to have a booth, have a spot where they can also show off, for example, jewelry, or maybe they sell flowers. So it's just another way to elevate the experience for guests. And one of the things we thought, hey, let's just continue to grow the event and just bring people together more as a community.
Support some emerging small businesses. So I've got here headliner, Between the Waves.
We have Between the Waves. Yes. They joined us
They're
the first year, and they just I know as well. They've played at Lilac Hedge Farm, so it's very cool that there's musicians that are willing to donate their time and support and they're super talented. We have another band, Futon Lasagna, who's been here.
Futon Lasagna.
Yeah, that's a fun name,
Award-winning.
right? Yes, they've been voted best band the past 2 years.
Right.
Yep. And then we have a new one as well, Brevity, which plays out actually quite a bit in the area. They do like 80s, 90s, 2000s. So a good variety too. We have a classic rock early in the day. So good variety.
And so pre-sale tickets?
They're on sale now. You can go to the CASAproject.org or any of our social media pages to get information or click right through. But a couple of things that are really important to us about this event. One is that it's family friendly. Yeah. Not all of our events are family friendly or for all ages or for all audiences. So it's really important to us that this is for all ages, all abilities. Certainly if you don't have young kids or kids, come. It's a great space. Anyone who's been to the farm knows there's something for everyone, but there are lots of things for younger kids too, between animals and very important to us. We're gonna have yard games. We're gonna have face painting and lots of different things to keep kiddos busy, or those that are young at heart. And the other thing I think that's important, you mentioned pre-sale tickets, and it's important to us that this is an accessible event too. So we have scaled tickets, even though there's lots of great benefits with the pre-sale tickets, including drink tickets. We have Greater Good that has signed on with us. They've been great supporters, and I know another great chamber friend, as well as Sun Cruiser and Wegmans. But we also, it's important to us that we have a designated driver ticket as well. So if folks say, that alcoholic drink ticket is of no value to me, we have a scaled ticket range for those folks too. And also for all of our events, we have a heroes ticket level, which is for all of our first responders, foster parents, educators, social workers, those that are really our heroes to to our work and our community.
And I don't think I've read this before in terms of additional activities. Flower hair clip making.
Something for everyone.
That is.
You can't have a music festival without flower crowns.
And then that's right. I guess that's true. Yeah. Woodstock, right?
Right.
Yeah. And then Worcester mascot interactions.
Of course.
So we'll have.
Can't not have them every year. Tracks has come.
Railers.
Yep. We have
represented the past few years.
Yep. And I think
the Woosocks have a bunch, right?
They are
Jake the Lion from the Bravehearts.
Mascots coming out of their eyeballs. They'll surprise us. Yeah. Fed characters, princesses in the past. But yeah, we're lucky to have, and even some of the local banks have offered their mascots for events too. I know Country Bank has a fun mascot, and
Buck, I think it is.
Yeah,
Buck, right.
Buck. And I think there's a couple others that have some. Bay State has a Benji, is that right?
Benji, that's right.
Yeah. So they're all in the mascot game.
And the colonial Minuteman outfit. We were talking, in terms of people buying tickets now, and there's a pre-sale ticket, $15 to $25. If people use the code Chamber TV, one word, get $5 off. But we were talking before we came on live, but there's also a tent there, so there's some flexibility with the weather. But we expect it's going to be a beautiful day. But if people need a break from the sun, there's a tent.
Yes, we're very optimistic that we'll have nice weather, of course, but there is in Lilac Hedge Farm just in the past year, I think, it's a very large, completely tented area. So if you're trying to get out of the sun or,
elements.
God forbid, if there's some weather that we have to worry about, rain-wise or anything like that.
Right.
Which is actually large enough for us to do the music under too if need be.
Great. So
got some options.
Yeah,
either way,
plans.
People can be assured they'll go forward. And
there'll be lots of food there too.
Right.
The farm has food, and we're also
Food
anticipating
trucks.
some food vendors as well. So folks can kind of spend their afternoon there if they'd like to. They could come for lunch and eat and drink their way through their flower crown making and and dancing
and
with
supporting
the music.
Emerging and businesses with the community collective, local artisans and crafts fair.
Yeah, and we are accepting applications for vendors. So if folks who are listening, they're wondering how they could get involved, there's no limit to opportunities. If you're a food truck vendor, and artist or another type of vendor, we would love to hear from you. So that's an opportunity that's still available. Are we still in the market for a face painter too? Last you heard?
Yep.
Okay, so if
Maybe
you know
maybe even talking
someone-
to someone who does balloons too. We're trying to
that'd be
still
fun.
vet that out.
Yeah.
I think the chamber, we have a balloon guy.
Do you?
Ooh,
Yeah,
okay.
so
We'll have to get the
put him in
contact.
touch.
Yep.
All right, well, third annual CASAPalooza. Julie, just before we wrap up, is there a website people can go to learn more, not only about the third annual CASAPalooza, but about CASA and how they might help financially or volunteer, get involved, maybe be an advocate?
Absolutely, yes. The CASAproject.org is our website, CASA, and all that information and more is there. We have an events tab, and this will fall under that, of course, as well as, like you said, exploring maybe some volunteer opportunities and other ways to get involved. So we're always happy to hear from folks.
Great. Julie Bowditch, Executive Director for CASA Project, and Keith Pettit, CINCH IT, another great example of our chamber member businesses giving back in a meaningful way. And thank you for being with us on this segment. We're going to come right back and talk leadership, Worcester, and workforce development.
Since 1889, Bank Hometown has stepped up to bat for our neighbors. In the past 5 years, we've donated $1.3 million to local organizations that help enrich lives and bring people together. And we're not stopping there. We're always looking to tackle the challenges of today and fuel the leaders of tomorrow. No matter how life changes over the years, we'll continue to show up for our neighbors, for our communities, and for you. Bank Hometown. Unlock your potential.